House for the Army Reserve.
Hey guys, welcome to Battle Buddies Live. We have a lot of people on here tonight. We're going to focus on networking. They are here because of networking, right, Sue? So that's why we've got a few new fresh faces. What we're going to do is we're going to do a roundtable discussion on best practices with networking, and I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves right now. If we could start with Tyrone and kind of go Brady Bunch style, I guess, left to right on the screen, that would be great. So, Gerald, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Gerald Trahane. I'm 22 and a half years Army retired and spent some time in recruiting, and now I work for a company as a talent acquisition specialist supporting government contracts.
Sue?
You guys have all seen me before. I am Sue Rieger. I'm a 26-year Army Reserve vet, most recently as an OCT trainer. Currently, I am working for a company by the name of Accenture, where I am a business operations analyst.
Greg? Oh, you're on mute, sir. There we go. All right.
Didn't want to have distracting noise. Greg Holb, retired March 34, just under 34 years, Command Sergeant Major. Logistics is my background as well. Current role, career planner for organization out of St. Cloud, Minnesota, assisting people in the arena with finding new work if they've lost their job, no fault of their own, or long-term, and also vets.
Sepe?
Andre Sepe, 10-year infantry veteran, four tours. I did IT. I went to college for IT. I did some welding schooling, and my endeavor is streaming.
Nice. Tyrone?
My name is Tyrone Snell. I spent just about 32 years in the Army Reserves. I'm still in. My civilian world, I'm an IT manager for Hennepin County.
Pete?
Pete Lavelle, resume resource for the group. I did 23 years Air Force, did a little contracting in the sandbox, and then even Mogadishu, getting the airport in shape up there. Happy to be here.
Mr. Rost?
Justin Rost, I'm the director of the Minnesota Helmets to Hard Hats program, Marine Infantry, 4 years.
Steve?
Steve Yankee, Marine veteran, 4 years, 96 to 2000. I own my own company helping transitioning service members, military spouses, and veterans connect to quality employers that are veteran ready.
Mr. Patterson?
John Peterson, Marine veteran, worked in the computer field, in the Corps and out, mostly help desk, desktop, but now in project work.
Nice. Dave? You're on mute. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Name's Dave Morissette. I did 16 years in the Marine Corps, got medically retired in 2012. I now work for Petco as a senior specialist of environmental health and safety, and I am out here in California, and I'm trying to get back to Minnesota, to where my family's at.
Nice. Did you know we got snow here today?
Yes, I got pictures of it from my family. They're like, you don't want to come back. And I'm like, well, sorry, I'm trying.
I saw one of my buddies post a picture up in Fargo that they had snow, and I thought to myself, oh, no big deal. And I grabbed the shovel and cleared the sidewalk here about an hour and a half ago, and it looks like it's ready for a second run. So be careful what you wish for.
If it helps you, it's about 87 degrees right now here.
Yeah,
inside.
I'm not a fan of the heat.
Cold.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I like to throw them low.
I don't know. I think when you're over 200 pounds that the heat isn't really your friend, but that's just a personal opinion. So
right.
So guys, let's just open this up as far as, here at Battle Buddies, we're a big proponent of the 20-minute networking meeting book. I know some of you have some familiarity with it. There's a process that our vets can use, and they can read a book and they can go out and practice it. And, there's the SOP, right? Using a military term for how to network properly. But then there's the real world, right? There's the academic version, and then there's the what works on the street. So, I would like to have that discussion. I would really like to kind of focus this towards both Gerald and Steve, since you guys are kind of veteran service rep kind of fellas. What you see best to get connected to you if you're watching the program tonight. So you guys can rock, paper, scissors, go first, or collaborate, throw out whatever.
Yeah.
So Steve, you're the new guy. We'll put the new guy on the spot.
Well, I appreciate it. Wisconsin's always ahead of Minnesota anyway. We got a better view of the river. So if you want to connect with us, right? If you want to connect with myself, it's mission-wisconsin.com. There's an intake form. If we're talking about networking, one of the keys that I've always taken away is try to add value to every interaction you have. So when you think about you're meeting someone, whether it's a cashier, somebody in the checkout line, a barista, right? Treat that interaction as if that person that you're going to add value to their life, like that you're going to bring something positive to that interaction, whether it's a smile or a sincere thank you, or just looking them in the eye and treating them as a human. It's always a positive thing. And you'll find that the more that you do that, the better your day is.
Nice. Gerald?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Steve. That approach of treating every interaction you have with people is really huge. I find, like, believe it or not, as a recruiter, like I practice. I practice on telemarketers, right? Like, if you can get a telemarketer to like you, you can kind of get anybody to like you. And I say that in a funny way, but like for me, my biggest place that I try to connect with people is on LinkedIn. Yeah, Facebook's great. Nothing against it, but for me, that's my time. That's my close friends, share funny memes, things like that. LinkedIn, that's the business side of life for me. So, if you reach out to me on LinkedIn, especially as a vet, I'm going to connect with you. I may not be the right person to help you out, but I can tell you, I know Chuck through this now, and I've gotten to know Pete, and they may be in the position to help you best. So look at me as a conduit to the people that can get you to the right places that you want to be at. And to me, that's a great use of the networking. Is sometimes our direct connection may not be where we help each other, directly, but indirectly we connect them to the different people. So,
You know what I did from last week? When we were talking, one thing that popped up that really stuck with me was to reach out to one new person per week that I'm already connected to on LinkedIn. Because Blanco was talking, and he's like, what's good? What's the good in having 5,000 people on your LinkedIn if you don't know them at all? So I made a point to spend an hour on the phone with at least one person every day since last Wednesday up to this point. And it's kind of crazy the energy that's starting to come behind me on this stuff now. Tyrone, new guy. You're on mute. How about yourself?
Well, one of the things that I look at when I look at networking is just, not being able to reach out to other people. Going back to what Steve said about treating every interaction and being nice and polite. One of the things I believe is, a lot of people say is who you know, but I like to look at it as who know you, because there are more people that will probably know you through someone else that you may not know. So if you treat that person with respect, and that person that you do know gets to know you and have a good rapport with you, they will be able to tell other people about you. So that increase your network just by people knowing who you are through someone else. So I like to treat it in that sense, to as I meet people, to make that impression and be able to have them feel comfortable enough to reach out to other people when they hear something that may be something good for me or something that I may be able to help someone else with.
How about you, Greg? You're the elder command sergeant major fella here that everybody's scared about getting yelled at about the grass, right? Get off my grass.
It is my grass.
Exactly.
A couple things come to mind, and both in the military, kind of like what Tyrone said, it's about building relationships, and anybody that's a logistician, the ones that do it best, is all about the connection. You're connecting with other people because you never know when you're going to need something. And it's amazing, even when we were deployed, the things that we could get because we connected with other people and they got to know us or somebody within our group. How does that translate to today? Networking, 70-80% of all jobs are found through the network, not necessarily from online applications. It's about who you know and then applying from there. Oh, there went the power. Anyway, the second thing is elevator speech. What is your objective? So if you go into a conversation and you sound wishy-washy, well, I kind of want to do this, I kind of want to do that, it creates inaction and inactivity in other people. They just don't know how to help you. So you want to be very specific in what you're looking to achieve. What is it that you need? Where is the help that you need from other folks, whether it's employment or, a lot of the veteran services stuff that's available out there. There's a lot of great resources and folks in this group as well. It's that knowing what question to ask kind of thing, along with that elevator speech.
Can I jump in here? So one thing that you said was very interesting to me that I see often in Battle Buddies is I call it the buffet vet. So that's the guy when you say, hey, you posted on Battle Buddies, who's hiring, right? And if we're lucky, it'll say I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, or something like that. And hey, Greg, we can actually see you just fine. So it's the buffet vet, and it's that guy that says, I can do anything that you throw at me. And it's like, yeah, dude, I'm sure you can do a lot of that stuff. But like Greg said, it's like walking in the Home Depot and telling the dude you need a hammer. And then, handing them your cart and they bring it back up to the register for you. And they're like, well, you said you needed a hammer. I didn't know you needed a finishing hammer. I brought you them all, right? So if you can walk in with that mindset of, here's the one or two things that I'm really good at. If you could connect me to someone who might be looking for a fellow like me, that would be wonderful. Is that kind of in line, Greg, with what you're talking about?
Indeed. Yeah. It's having that conversation. It's purpose-driven action, where this exactly it. Is it a ball peen hammer? What is it that you need? Whether that's employment, whether it's medical services, resources for counseling, because there's a lot of mental health issues going on right now, especially with our vets and stuff and this transition in their life. This is, when you have an identity, and trust me, it's been a huge transition for me. My identity has changed immensely, so then I have to reconfigure who it is I am and how is it that I connect with other people to build relationships. And so, yeah.
I tell you another interesting comment from what you were saying is we had I think it was a 2-star general show up to a networking meeting I was at once. And one of the things that he talked about was that he was a problem solver. He was a connector. That was his superpower. And, that's what networking is, right? Is, everybody thinks they have to have the right answer or the right guy or whatever, but the power in this is in who do you know that might know someone? So if you walk into networking with, hey, dude, give me a job, you're probably doing a lot of things wrong. And I'd suggest this book as a starting point at a minimum. After you watch this video, obviously. Sarah, you're the newbie here today now. So we're not gonna say anything bad about you for showing up late.
Sorry, it's snowed.
I'm gonna put the blame on Sue because she probably didn't get the invite out with the proper time. Anyways, that being said, if you don't mind introducing yourself to the group, our focus is on networking this evening, and you can kind of fill in some blanks right out the gate. We've all introduced ourselves.
Awesome. Yes, thanks so much. Sorry for joining late with the snow. We had some last minute, oh shoot, this stuff is in the snow, we need to get it in after work type of a hustle tonight. So I'm Sarah Farston. I served with Sue in the reserves for a couple years before I got out. I was in for 11 years. one deployment, active duty for 4 years. And one of the biggest things that I learned too with the network is, who you know, and then as a resource, as an employer, knowing how to understand a military applicant when they are coming in. And I live over in Watertown, South Dakota. We have one of the largest National Guard readiness centers in the state of South Dakota. A lot of vets, a lot of service members right here in our local area. And we also just opened a brand new VA medical facility here in town as well. A really nice, very large, brand new facility to help our veterans. And so, I love being on the Battle Buddy webpage, offering jobs and resources to folks wanting to maybe get out where it's a little bit quieter over here in South Dakota, away from the big cities, get some space, get some quiet, and yeah, definitely knowing people, having resources, having somebody in a new area where you might consider moving is a huge benefit to veterans, whether you're 20, 30 years or 2 years in, it doesn't matter. I definitely feel that it's a huge, huge resource in the community to just know people and have somebody that can give you an answer or direct you to somebody who can get you an answer.
You sound like the Kristen Noem TV spots I see about recruiting people into South Dakota. It's pretty funny. Did she send you a script or what?
Nope, I was recruiting before she actually became our governor. There'd be a couple times where on Battle Buddies, folks were looking for jobs, and the Watertown area has a lot of fantastic jobs, a lot of blue collar jobs with fantastic benefits. And again, it's a really quiet place to live especially for vets looking for if they need places where it's not so loud, not so busy, things move a little bit slower over here. I started recruiting before Governor Noem started trying to bring folks into South Dakota.
Nice. Okay, Dave, I'm going to put you on the spot because you're the guy that's actively doing this stuff and you're on mute right now. So what types of things have you learned that you need to be doing and you're going to be focusing on yourself in this transition back to snowy Minnesota?
So pretty much what I've got so far is that, I need to put myself out there more in what my specialty is and like what I do. Instead of, because I get caught up a lot, like especially in my job is, if you don't have the degree, you pretty much don't get looked at. But, if I go in, especially if I go face to face, because it's kind of hard, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to do it over the line because I've done a lot of this virtual hiring, the career fairs. And if you don't have, like today I did one and I was talking to the recruiters and I told them like, hey, look, I don't have a degree or any of this and that. And I got pushed off to the side. So, I think I need to not so much concentrate on the degree part of it, but show them what I have done. Kind of like what you told me, Chuck, in my profile, spice it up. And don't give a mug shot. Try to go in there looking professional.
I said prison shot, actually,
Same
right,
thing.
Gerald?
Same thing.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's a mug shot.
There you go.
I do have the communications. The prison was the term.
Yeah. And the great thing is, Dave, you did that and your LinkedIn profile looks significantly different.
Well, I thank you for that. But my wife, she wasn't so happy because I kept on telling her, like I was standing there, I was like, take a picture. She's like, okay, when's enough is enough. And she's a Beachbody coach. So she takes pictures all day long, which drives me nuts, which I have to be the photographer. But so I need to concentrate more on, I believe, spicing up myself and like showing everybody what I've done, what accomplishments I've done, like for example throughout the 1,500 stores at Petco, that we are changing the way we're reporting. Well, I don't have that into my LinkedIn profile, which I should put in there because I think that it would show, big companies that, I know what I'm doing when I'm, how do I say it? When it comes to reporting, I know how to get it across, especially 1,500 stores, and how to get it back up to upper management, like the CEOs and all that stuff.
So I can tell you this, knowing Pete as long as I have, one of his thing that he does is quantifying stuff. Pete, do you want to talk about how he should be concentrating on this right now?
Yeah, just in general terms, quantifying adds impact to your story. It's really easy to say, you know, I sold into, you're doing sales, high-tech sales, sold into General Motors. Okay, cool. When you can say how you sold it, how much you sold, and what the ongoing value of that sale was, then you're telling the whole story. And that is where the quantification comes in, because people read words all day long on resumes. But when you intersperse that with some numbers, just from a very basic attention getting standpoint, it grabs attention. Numbers tell how effective you are in a way that words just simply can't. So when you can quantify something in terms of time saved, dollars sold, hours saved, budgets cut, direct labor reduced, you're really, really giving the reader what they need to know to make the decision to go ahead and explore you further as a candidate. That make sense?
It does.
So Dave, there's a thing called the Pareto effect. I'm going to go full nerd here, but I'll simplify it. You heard of the 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
So your degree needs to fall into that 80% that won't matter, okay? Because you need to be focused on the highlight reel, that top 20% of what Dave does. You want that person to be so impressed with your story at Petco that they don't give two shits. Is that still within PG-13? By the way, Sarah, you're joining late. There's only 2 rules tonight: PG-13 language and keeping pants on. Blanco claimed that he might have had shorts on with his vest or his fancy suit last week, but who knows? But there was an incident this week. You guys might know about it. But anyway, so that degree can become less relevant when you can show experience. Steve, I saw you shaking your head, nodding your head up and down. This is a typical thing with vets, right? You want to jump on in here?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I encourage all the people I work with is you have to tell your story, right? Like I have a bullet in my resume because right now in my, general startup life, I'm bartending. Also, right, COVID has happened. So working from home and it's just me and my dog. So I need to get out. I need to do sales. I need to see other people. I need to interact with humans again. So I tend bar, which also means I cook. I made a fish sandwich. One of the resume bullet points is bartending from this to this, right, at this place. I made a fish sandwich that changed lives.
In a good or bad way?
Yes. See, but this leads
allergies, man. You never know.
This leads to the conversation, though, right? So what I did, so they're going to see that, and they're going to be like, a fish sandwich that changed lives? I'm like, yeah, I dropped a frozen piece of cod into a deep fryer, took it out, put it on a bun, some lettuce, tartar sauce, served it to a gentleman who was there with his family bowling. He came up afterwards and he said that was the best fish sandwich I've ever had in my life. And I thought he was, right? Like I work at a bar. I'm not used to cynical people. It happens every now and then.
Hey, did you ever see Elf? He said he's the best coffee in the world. This sounds a story like that. Keep going, please.
A little bit. But then he insisted on shaking my hand, right? And he looked me dead in the eyes and he was like, this sandwich changed my life. Thank you so much. So I have never seen him again. All I know is that things have happened in the world after this. And I think I added so much value through that sandwich, right? We might have 2 peace deals in the Middle East. We might have a vaccine on the way for COVID. I don't know. It could be him. That
butterfly
sandwich
effect, man.
Absolutely. That sandwich was the rock in the water that led to the ripples that changed lives. So one sandwich changed lives. But when you talk about your resume, it's all how you tell your story, right?
Yep.
It's what you want to highlight and where you want to go.
But Steve, you also bring up a good point in that we are in different times right now, and not everybody, obviously, on this call or even who will be listening to this can be a bartender. So I'm kind of interested to hear from the panel what ideas you guys have on ways that you can connect with people during this time of COVID, you know, and still make those connections, still make that network happen. What ideas do you guys have?
So
And don't all speak at once.
So I have one. I mean, I know I'm the bottom of the totem pole here, but through LinkedIn, I met a guy up in San Francisco named Chris doing at a Coupa training, and that led me to where I'm at now with Gerald and Chuck and the rest of you guys now, which is amazing. But I mean, through LinkedIn, I mean, I've reached out to people, and now I have a network of, within the matter of a week, like what Chuck was saying, with my picture and that stuff, just the change of the picture, I've had, man, I want to say about 7 connections just like that. And that's just for changing it and reaching out to Gerald, reaching out to Chuck, reaching out to Chris and all those guys. So I think LinkedIn is by far the way to go.
Yep.
So, sorry.
I think there's something to be added into all of this also. It's great to make all these connections. It's great if you, like we talked about earlier, you got to know these people though. Okay. It's not just the numbers game. It's about making it personal, making it memorable for that person, because you want them to remember you. So when they hear about something that you're interested in, whether it's a job or an opportunity, or they need help and you're offering help, that they remember you and come back to you with that. I think that's one of the biggest things that has helped me with Helmets to Hard Hats here in Minnesota, has been not only making those connections, but making them personal and being able to recall who I need to send somebody to, or who somebody should send to me if they need help, and making sure they all are aware of that.
Sepe, we've been staying away from you on purpose. Anyway, what do you want to add here? You're the epitome of the infantry guy, right? So you're the transition infantry guy. I don't know no one, all that stuff. So networking from the 11 Bravo perspective, give it to us, because we got a lot of combat arms guys in here. This isn't their thing when they're getting out. What are some of the best practices you learned?
I don't know why it's not their thing. I think it's the transition that punches them in the nanners, and they kind of like climb up, because your whole military career, especially as an infantryman, that's all you do. You network with people. You know, you got to be good with your supply. You got to be good with your cooks. You got to be good with everybody. You know, we talk a lot of smack about Pogues, but at the end of the day, that's not how it really is. Like, reality is, we're really good. Man, I went on patrols and I had a case of Ripid in my MRAP every freaking time, okay? It's not because I'm a stellar individual, I tell you that much. You know, the biggest issue to me, what I think what happens is the guys get out and they get all this freedom, so they go a little wild at first. Second, there is a pride issue. We have a huge pride issue in the community. We don't reach out. I have 900 some people on my Facebook alone, okay? Networking isn't the problem. Reaching out is. That's what I think. I think we just need to learn to stay in touch with people and talk to them the way we used to, because we get out and we just kind of like try to make it on our own, and in the civilian world more so than in the military, it's about who you know. It really is about who you know. I've seen people get jobs, they're not, you know, that require degrees and they don't have anything. It's just they know people. It doesn't mean they're not qualified for the jobs. You know, a college degree doesn't make you smart. It makes you trouble. That's really it. Like, so it really just start reaching out, guys. Just start talking to each other. I know guys, you know, I reached out to Chuck for some contracts. But some of the guys I said with the contracts, they gave me contacts. You know what I mean? It's out there. Just got to talk to each other.
So here's one. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I totally agree with that. It doesn't matter who you know if you don't ask them for help, right? You can have as many contacts or connections on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Twitter or on Snapchat, but if you don't ask for help in a specific manner, right? If you don't say, hey, you know, Chuck, I'm reaching out to you because I've got this opportunity, or because I am looking to do this. Can you point me in the right direction? Right. One of the things I learned in the Marine Corps was I'm not very smart. I learned that two ways, right? I learned that because I joined the Marine Corps, and two, I learned that because I was a Marine, right? But what I did learn was that I'm smart enough to know who knows the answer. So I don't know at this time, but I'll find out. If anybody needs to be connected to anyone, you just have to ask someone. There's a great example from Battle Buddies. I connected with a cat named AJ who was having troubles. I think some of you might remember the post, but he was having troubles because he'd been turned down for a bunch of jobs. And I just said, hey, like, hit me up. Let's schedule a call. We'll do an hour. We'll review your resume. We'll go over it. We'll spend a little time on Indeed, you know, checking out jobs in your area. And we did. We've got, you know, calls scheduled every week now until we get him a job, right? But it was a matter of he needed to ask for help. And that's the thing we struggle with.
So Steve, you bring up a great thing. We have kind of gotten away from that on the page compared to when we first started. When we would see that somebody needed help, we were really good. I don't know how long everybody's been on the page, but you know, when we first started this, actually, I think Sepe is one of the guys that I threw my phone number out there for. He was having a rough time, and we probably talked for an hour at 1 a.m. in the morning, you know? And we've got guys that have been more than willing to do exactly what Steve just said. You know, we've got tons of hire managers on here, right? We're pushing 50,000 people. We probably have 2,000-3,000 hiring managers or more. You know, I would think at least 5% are a hiring manager or have been in the past. There's a lot of older resources on there that are retirees that have tons of experience hiring people, knowing what to do on the interviews, all of that. So, you know, I guess that's one of those initiatives we should probably start pushing on Battle Buddies again to make sure that our guys are getting that one-on-one help from a peer group. Because I personally don't have the time to do that stuff myself anymore, but there's a lot of people here who have a lot of years to offer for help for everybody. Go ahead, Gerald.
Real quick. So you mentioned that with the groups. That's another great connection point for everybody is, you know, you may not know somebody in an area you're going to be going to, but you would be surprised how many job seekers in St. Petersburg, Florida groups there are, or, you know, in Atlanta or different locations. So if, you know, Justin, right, is going down to Alabama and I don't know anybody down there, Chuck doesn't know anybody down there, but you'd be surprised on how quick of a search for one of those groups you can find. And then once you're in, you'll be able to see other people and notice that, okay, so, you know, I'm looking for a bartending job. Hey, Steve's in the bartending industry. Hey, Steve, I'm moving up to Wisconsin.
Everybody's a bartender in Wisconsin.
Right, right. Well, yeah, in Wisconsin especially, but
A bartender or a customer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you can also connect that way to people, and people want to help people, despite what social media tells you. People are genuinely good and want to help others, and that's not just in the vet community. So it may not be a vet you reach out to, but it will be somebody who can assist you through that process, or give you an idea of, you know, why St. Paul over Minneapolis, or why you go further north up into the Iron Range or something like that. So again, I would look at those groups as well as another good point.
Okay, so we're under 5 minutes. So here's what I'd like to do. Is kind of have everybody throw out one thing that they think people should take away from this discussion tonight and use it over. So I'm one of those guys that believes in using one thing new per week. I can do just about anything for a week, right? Just about anything. Except make peace with my ex-wife. That's impossible for whatever reason. Some humor. She still loves me. That's the problem. That's why there's tension. I'm gonna put this on YouTube so she sees this and reports it to YouTube. Anyways, Gerald, so what's one thing you think these guys should try for a week? And then that's it. One thing.
I would say the easy one is update that photo. if you try to connect with me as talent acquisitions or my counterparts who are hiring managers, if you connect to us and your picture is that generic symbol, you're probably getting ignored. And you're wondering why we're not connecting with you. Because I don't know if you're real or not. Right?
That's
And so
Oogie Boogie. He's the
right.
master at that.
Right? But to
I
me,
only have one profile. Leave me alone.
but that's you throwing yourself out there. So people see that you're a real person, and that really helps. So that's probably one of the easiest things I would say. And the other is, again, I'm sorry, stealing it from Steve, reach out to people. If you got questions, ask. Sitting there going, I need a job doesn't get you a job.
Yeah.
Reaching out to those connections does.
Great. Sue, you're up.
Well, I'm going to tag right on to the end of Gerald's, and I'm going to say when you are reaching out for help, be a little bit more specific other than just saying, I need a job, because nobody can help you if you don't tell us what you're looking for or even where you're at. We can't help you if we don't know what you need. I know Tyrone and Greg and Sarah can all chime in on this as well, but one of the worst things that we ever encountered was the generic comment of, well, what could you do better? Well, communication. And then they would leave it at that. Okay, well, what part of communication? And this is a big piece of it, is being very specific and dialing it in. So ask for help, but tell us what you need and where you're at so we can find you the right resources.
Greg, you're up.
I would say to answer David's question about, skills versus a degree, there's a lot of stuff where if you read into the fine print of a job posting, that it says equivalency to a degree. Experience speaks loudly. So one of the things is establishing what is your skill set? What is the things that you do well that translate? And there's certainly some assessments out there that are free that you can do that can help identify some of those skill words so that you can use that to describe what you're wanting from people in your network. And like Sue said and Gerald said, is you got to be direct and you got to ask. You can't. We are a family, right? Vets are special. We are the 1%. We are the ones that all signed that dotted line at some time in our life that says up until death we give to this country. So that doesn't change. We're vets for life, right? So that means we still carry that battle buddy process where we care about each other. And I think that's the other thing that those people that are transitioning need to know. We still care about them. We all were where you are right now, and there are ways to get you where you need to go through the network.
Nice. Sepe.
Yeah, sure. Some people
Just
have a
one
big
thing.
issue with veterans. Like, freaking humble yourself, guys. Don't ask for help and then be an asshole about it. I've seen that a lot on Battle Buddies. Happens quite often. Somebody's like, I need help, and somebody helps, or even makes a joke about something, and they go off the deep end. Like, world doesn't know you anything, man. There's people trying to help you, and you just showed your ass. I don't want to help you. I know employers here. If you do that to me, I'll show them the whole post and be like, you decide. I'm just trying to help. At this point, I'm hands off. All right, guys. Thank you all.
Tyrone.
Well, I agree with what was said about taking the initiative to reach out to people and being prepared when you do that. Have like the elevator speech, or be specific in what you're looking for and being able to articulate that.
Pete.
I would say, in the vein of networking, go out to LinkedIn and pick one of your connections that you've worked with. Offer to write a recommendation for them if they'll do the same for you in return, and start building up your cache of recommendations. To sweeten the pot, you might want to write 2 recommendations, one for them and one for yourself, that they'll sign. Don't be intimidated by writing. Your brain will get into that channel if you go out and just read a few recommendations from other people on other people's profiles, and pretty soon you'll be in that stream of consciousness for writing recommendations. So
We got
write recommendations.
3 Marines in a row. Let's see what happens if I say Marine Corps. Oh, it didn't happen. Usually the earth shakes and you hear this raw
Son of
nonsense.
a beat, I couldn't get it on mute quick enough. Darn it. Can I get it raw? Can I get it raw?
Justin, what's one thing?
Smile. Everyone, when we come out of the Marine Corps or out of any of the other lesser branches of service, people get real rigid. And sometimes you put business first and you have such a serious face. Try and smile while you're there. Try and enjoy the interaction and make it personal. And you'll have deeper connections with people and it'll go further.
Steve? Other than a best fish sandwich ever.
Right. That was amazing. So we all have phone and we all have text. I don't know how y'all manage your relationships, right? But one of the things that I have learned, one of the tricks for productivity, it's a program called 6-Minute Networking. And the first advice they give you when you start this program, and it's free, is to go to the bottom of your text message list. And every day you send 4 or 5 messages to the bottom of your list, right? Because generally it populates by chronological. So the last people you've sent a message to, right? So go to the very bottom, shoot them a three-line text. Say, hey, it's been a while. How are you? Love to connect, right? And just hit send. So every morning you spend 6 minutes, you knock out 5 messages and watch your network grow, right? They follow up or they don't. But either way, you're reaching out to them to say, hey, I'm not doing something too invasive, and people read text messages, you know, and you're just building that network that way. So I would encourage you to try that for a week. If text doesn't work, go to LinkedIn, scroll all the way down to the bottom of your messages and do that. Because at some point, you've had a connection with that person.
Yeah, I never heard of that before. I like that. John.
Make one up here. Not only know who you are and what your 90-second speech is, but find 2 people in your area and learn what they're about. So next time you're on LinkedIn, you say, hey, Pete, how's it going? Or happy birthday. And then, oh, here's Greg. Greg's looking for a business analyst. Are you looking? I can say, yes, I am looking. Or if I'm not it's like, no, but have you tried Gerald or Chuck? And it's like, oh, Gerald, I did try. Who's this Chuck guy? That way, even if, even after you're hired, you're still able to help the person and build further.
Dave. Got your mute.
So if you don't put yourself out there, you'll never go anywhere. That's as simple as that. If you don't put yourself out there, you will not go anywhere. That's it.
Nice. Sarah, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm going to tag team on the be specific. Like Sue said, be specific when you're asking for help. Like Pete said, when you're doing your resume, quantify. Use specific numbers, actions, accomplishments, things you saved. And like Steve was referencing in his resume, put that story driving one-liner in there that's going to trigger a story where you can emphasize something you did that makes you sellable to an employer. But yeah, definitely be specific. Don't be afraid to let people know exactly what you did and what that impact was.
So I have one final thing that I think is important that should help you get over some of your, I don't ask for help shit in your head, right? I feel dirty about it. I need to take a bleach bath. If you end all of your networking meetings with commensurate of exchange happening, meaning, hey, how can I help you? If you go in with that mindset that when you wrap up your meeting, that you're going to ask that person, how can I help you? You've kind of purged that from your soul. And that's going to go really far with that person that's sitting across the table. I do it every time I meet someone, and they're kind of taken back by it in kind of a selfish world that we live in these days. So it's a way to differentiate yourself as well. So just if you go into the meeting with the mindset of, I'm going to help this person at the end of the day, you'd be surprised what'll happen. And you also need to remember that you are the product that you're networking. So if somebody gets a good vibe from you and they like you as a person and they believe what your resume says or what your story is or whatever, they're going to be very proud to pass you on to their buddies, because everybody wants to have the best chiropractor, the best accountant, the best auto mechanic, the best whatever, right? And you can be that person. So that's your value prop to the networking meeting. At the end of the day, it's not going in with the selfish mindset. It's going in there saying, hey, I'm available for somebody that might find me amazing. If you could connect me to somebody that could see my value, that would be wonderful. So make sure you throw that out there at the end, that on top of me being amazing, I'll send you guys a resume if you want to see. Pete's helped me write a bunch of it. I'm shortened now, Pete. I'm down to less than 2 pages. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But always ask that person, what can I do for you? And you will be stunned as to how far their jaw drops on the floor. So we are only over by 3 minutes, Sue. Sue's the one that keeps us in line. So I got bruises on the back of my head. So we're going to cut it off for the night. Thanks for joining Battle Buddies, almost live.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us, Chuck.
Good job, everybody. Thank you.
I think that these meetings that we have like this are the best that we've got. It's way better than just Pete and myself sitting there talking about how awesome we are. Right,
Not
Pete?
that I'm not bad, but
As fascinating as the two of you are, this panel was amazing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody showing up and donating their time to these soldiers. And guys, everybody's, except for Sarah, I don't have her consent, but I'm going to imply that I do. We're all available on LinkedIn. If you need help, reach out to us through direct message here on Facebook if we're on there. LinkedIn's probably an easier place to catalog it because we can connect you straight into companies. Most of us know most of our people that are on there, and we just want to help. So have a good evening, everybody.